All right, so this is gonna be the tutorial on how to put the nose onto the face. So you have your head, you've already attached your hair, it's been glued down. Now you're gonna be working the nose before you close up the head. So the nose will actually already be marked for you. Make sure that it does line up with the center of your hairline, because we'd rather it be centered on your hairline than in your original spot if you've already got your hair attached and it ended up not in the center. We wanna make sure that's centered into the hairline. So as we're looking here, this looks like it's good and centered. So I'm just gonna untie the half knot that the stitch marker I had in there. And so we're going to use the rows so that it is between the same 2 rows, but the nose is going to be anywhere from 2 to 3 stitches wide depending on how wide you want your nose. So I'm going to insert my hook into the same row between the same rounds as my stitch marker, and I can go ahead and take that out once my needle is in there. And then I'm going to stitch over about 2 stitches depending on how wide you want your nose, and go right back down in, and the head being hollow here makes this really easy to do so. We're just going to pull through. We don't want to pull the yarn all the way through. We want to be able to have a tail there to sew it onto. And we're just going to go back and forth over those stitches just a couple times so that it's a little bit more defined and thicker. So I tend to do this about 3 times to make a good nose. Give it a little bit of a tug. You don't want it super tight because you do want to be able to see the nose there. You don't want it to blend in with the skin completely, but as you can see, that gives a nice little button nose there. And then what you're going to do is actually on the inside tie a square knot. So we're just going to flip this back, and we can cut off a little bit of that. We don't need a ton of tail there. And then we're just going to create a square knot on the back, and we don't have to weave these in. I like to leave little tails on them so that that square knot never pulls out, but we're gonna stuff the head so we can just leave those inside of there. And there we have the little nose on our face. Some dolls I have left with no mouth, other ones I've put a mouth on. So this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how I do a very simple mouth. So what I like to do is I like to go 2 rows down from where the nose is placed. And I tend to go a little bit wider than the nose, maybe a stitch or 2 wider. And the first stitch we're gonna do is gonna be a straight stitch across, making sure you center it on the nose, just like so. Now the second stitch is also gonna be a straight stitch. You're gonna actually come right back up from where you were originally. And you're gonna go to the same spot you were, except we're not gonna pull this one tight. So now we're going to drop it down a little bit here. And how we're gonna do that is we're gonna pull it kind of tight, but not too tight. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab the yarn by making a little small stitch. I believe in embroidery, this is called a daisy stitch, to keep that bottom part of her mouth down, just like so. So we're gonna kind of pull that tight and then go right back where you were. And that will hold that stitch in place, and it pretty much makes it invisible. You can see it a little bit, but not too bad. And that creates a really cute little smile for your doll. And then you do the same thing on the inside. You're going to take the 2 tails that you have from the inside, and you're gonna just tie them in a square knot and leave the tails inside the doll's head. And there you have the nose and the mouth on your doll.
So then you're going to take your eyes and either glue them down or sew them down. Make sure you place them on your face first before you do so you have a good placement for them. And then there you go, your face is all complete and you're ready to move on.